If you want to learn exactly how to build this 6x3 arch treat wall, watch the entire video as I show you the step by step. The first step of the process is you'll want to cut 2 feet off the length of the board. You'll then want to cut 1 foot off the width of the board. And because this treat wall is 3 feet wide, you'll want to find the center at 18 inches. And you'll then want to find 18 inches down from the length of the board. And this will be the center point for your circular jig. And you'll set the pin and router bit 18 inches exactly. Once you make the top curved section of the backdrop, you'll then want to give it a nice thorough sanding and then turn it over and sand out the edges. You'll then want to make sure that you blend in the curved section with the straight run. And because the shelves are 32 inches long, you will want to make markings at 2 inches from both sides of the edges of the board, so you know exactly where your shelves will begin and where they will end. And for the shelvings, I like to install them at the 1, 2, 3, and 4 foot lines, as this will make it the easiest to install. Once you've completed that, you'll make your straight lines, and this is where these shelves will be installed. I like to install 5 1 1/2 inch wood screws per shelf, and I like to make 1 pilot hole per shelf, and I do that 1 inch in, and you will want to make that pilot hole in the center of those shelf boards. And if you are curious, I'm using 1x4 select pine for the shelves. Then you will make the markings on the backdrop where the 5 screws are going to go. For that, you'll mark it at 3 inches, 10.5 inches, 18 inches, 25.5 inches, and 32 inches. And then you'll use a very tiny drill bit and make pilot holes into the board. Once you're finished with that step, you'll then make the legs for the backdrop. And if you are curious on how I make the legs, I would highly recommend checking out one of my other videos where I go over the step-by-step on how to do that. But in this video, I'm showing exactly how to install the legs to the backdrop. And I like to use 2 utility hinges per leg. And I like to install them 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the bottom of the leg. And when installing the legs, make sure that they're flush with the bottom of the backdrop board. And you will want to install them 5 1/4 inch from the edge of the backdrop board. Once you're finished installing the leg, you'll then install the gate hook and eye. And the main purpose of the gate hook and eye is to prevent the legs from swinging open unexpectedly, and it makes it easy to transport. Once you're finished with that, you'll then repeat the process on the other leg. And I would highly recommend using a speed square to make sure that your legs are sitting upright 90 degrees. And if you are curious, I am using 3/4 inch wood screws and 2.5 inch narrow utility hinges. And I would highly recommend taking your time when installing these to make sure that they're sitting perfectly and flush with the bottom of the board. I do install the gate hook directly on the backdrop and the O-ring 24 inches from the bottom of the leg. And once you're finished with that, you'll then begin installing the shelves for the treat wall. And again, you will want to use 1.5 inch wood screws, and you will want to make sure that the middle of the shelves are in line with the lines you made in the beginning of the process. And then you'll assemble everything thoroughly. And just like that, you have a beautiful 6x3 treat wall ready for paint. Make sure to put your questions in the comments, and thanks for watching.